to speak today about a tale of two men. These two men is Adolf and Rudolf Dassler. They were shoe manufacturers in Germany during World War II, and a feud broke out between the two brothers, so much so that it actually separated the brothers, separated the family, separated the business, and even the very town in which they lived in. It all started allegedly because of a feud. During World War II, there was air raids over Germany, and the Germans used to go into the shelters, the underground bunkers. And what Rudolf actually went in first with his family, and then later on, Adolf came with his family. And as he entered into the shelter, he said this, and I quote, I want to say that I quote, he said, "Those bastards are back again," meaning the Allied forces. But his brother thought he was talking about him. And man, did a fight break out. A fight that actually lasted 5 years. Eventually, they separated and said, "Listen, you go your way, I go my way." They broke the company up, and each of them started their own shoe manufacturing company. Adolf started the company Adidas. His nickname was Adi and Dassler, Adidas. And his other brother Rudolf started the great company called Puma. And still to this day, the town, the very town where the manufacturing companies are, is divided between their allegiance, between the two brothers. Can you believe it, eh? Now you know, eh? Before we give you some clues, does anybody recognize this man on the right? Al Capone, well done guys, I don't have to give you any clues here. Yes, this is Al Capone. During the 1920s and 30s, he was a notorious mobster, one of the leaders of the mafia in Chicago. He ran the mafia ring in Chicago. And he's smiling because of his wealth and fame he made by selling alcohol. He used to sell alcohol. It was important to know something because it was during the Prohibition era. They didn't know it was illegal to buy or sell any alcohol. So he made his fame and fortune by selling alcohol. And then the guy on the left-hand side, the good-looking guy with the hat, his name is James Capone. Al Capone's elder brother. But his brother wanted nothing to do with his illegal mafia stuff. So what he done was he changed his name. And he changed his name to James Hart. This was a good move because he actually became the head of the law enforcement. And he ended up locking away many of his clients. They used to call him Two-Gun Hart because he used to walk around with two guns in a holster like the Cowboys. And he even wore the hat to suit it also. They called him Two-Gun Hart because he used to Two-Gun Hart. Let me show you the last two brothers. This is Edwin and John Wilkes Booth. Anybody familiar with that name, John Wilkes Booth? Alright, well, these guys were actors. Edwin and John were actors in America. Unfortunately for John, he wasn't as good an actor as his brother Edwin. Edwin was a good actor, got great reviews by the critics, but he was always hammered day after day by the bad reviews. Eventually his brother actually got the needle to him and said, "Listen, we got to separate because you're giving me a bad name." They were going to do a tour of the northern states of America, and Edwin said to John, "Listen, I don't want you to come with me." So man, in a half and a puff, he went south and he went north. So Edwin actually made his allegiance with the Union States. This was during the Civil War in America. They were divided between north and south. So he actually alleged himself with the northern part of the Union States. And his brother went south. And he gave his allegiance to the Confederate States. Very vocal about his hatred towards Abraham Lincoln, the President of America. That all came to a head on the 14th of April, 1865, when Abraham Lincoln was assassinated by none other than John Wilkes Booth. Now you know, don't you? Isn't it amazing that the very world we live in, the culture we embrace, the shoes we wear, the history we know, has been shaped by the feud and the tale of two men. None can be more important than in the Bible, in the story about two brothers called Cain and Abel. So let us turn to our Bibles. If you have them with you, or you can follow on the screen, Genesis chapter 4, as we'll read about the two brothers called Cain and Abel. Thank you, Tony. You don't open up your Bible, it's fine. It's in Genesis, you'll find it pretty quick.
Adam lay with his wife Eve, and she became pregnant and gave birth to Cain. She said, "With the help of the Lord, I have brought forth a man." Later she gave birth to his brother Abel. Now Abel kept flocks, and Cain worked the soil. In the course of time, Cain brought some of the fruits of the soil as offering to the Lord. And Abel also brought blood portions from some of the firstborn of his flock. The Lord looked with favor on Abel and his offering, but on Cain and his offering he did not look with favor. So Cain was very angry, and his face was downcast.
Thank you. Alright, sorry, okay, I'm a familiar one, but hopefully we'll learn some new insights about the story today. It said there that Adam lay with his wife, Adam knew his wife. Actually, some translations actually go as far as to say Adam made love to his wife, which is a bit of an odd one. I thought, yeah, oh, what's going on here? Like a PG-rated Bible. But it's actually in NIV. But I've changed it to just say Adam lay with his wife, which means they had sexual relationships, and they had a son. And that son's name was? Nobody saw that. Cain. Well done. Yeah, Cain. Firstborn to Adam and Eve. Cain means begotten, possession, or gotten, because it was, as he said there, gotten of the Lord. So Cain popped out. A little while later, she gave birth to another baby, and his name was? Abel. There we go. Well done, guys. Abel came out, and his name actually means vapor, mist, breath. And people they're confused by that name because it doesn't actually make sense. But it's maybe prophetical because of his life. He died as a young man. His life was but a vapor, a breath. Just a mist in the wind, so maybe that's what it means. But anyway, these two boys, Cain and Abel, grew up, and they took their professions. And now back in the days of Adam and Eve, there weren't too many professions out there. It's not like you can put your CV in for IT or HR. There wasn't that, alright? That was two things. You can become a farmer, or you can become a shepherd. Your choice. So it's logical to think that Cain would grow up, he was the firstborn, he would become a farmer because his father Adam was a farmer. We read in the previous chapter, in our previous message, that God said that you will work the ground. Remember that? Your curse is that you're going to work the ground and you're going to grow all your crops. So he was a farmer. So when Cain came onto the scene, he just took over and helped his father Adam with the farm. Alright, so he was a farmer. And then when Abel came to the scene, they said, listen, we already got like two farmers in the family, a big family at that time. We already got two farmers, so you become a shepherd. And that's how it happened, and Abel became the shepherd of flocks. And then as they grew up, this is what happened. It says, in the course of time, Cain brought some of the fruits of the soil as an offering to the Lord, and Abel also brought an offering, fat portions, and some of the firstborn of his flock. The Lord looked with favor on Abel and his offering, but on Cain and his offering he did not look with favor. So Cain was very angry and downcast. And now the story about this is the two altars. You see my altars that I made with my own hands? Okay? You see these stones? They take a long time. Here's my two altars representing what they brought. In the course of time, they brought an offering. Cain would have brought the fruit of the soil. I've got a real fruit. I don't know, what is this? A gem squash. Alright? This is an apple and a carrot. Just because I want to get literal what the Bible means when it says fruit of the soil. So he brought the fruit of the soil. Abel, his brother, brought something else, and what he brought was the firstborn of his flock. First of all, what's her name? It's going to break my heart, but yes, Snowflake has been with me. This is a final acting illustration of the church. She has to eventually go back to her owner sometime. She's actually toured with me. Remember, I've done a message called The Lost Sheep. And I've done that same message, strange enough, in 6 different churches. I done in Jeffreys Bay, the Methodist Church, Philadelphia Church. I done the same message. Obviously, it was a bit different than the one I done here. I incorporated a personal testimony. And that has actually gone kind of all over the country at this point. So Snowflake has really helped me put me on the map. But today Snowflake is going to have a sad farewell, because she will become, unfortunately, the offering of Abel. So don't all cry yet, you can cry afterwards. Right? Get your t-shirts out. She will become the firstborn of Abel's. I don't want to put it like that. The bung in the egg. Okay, so she becomes the firstborn of Abel's sacrifice. And now the question is, why did God reject Cain's offering? It's a pretty good one. It's all colourful, very cool. It's got the right wood, bought from Lawrence. It's a Lawrence's stuff. It's a property. So what was the difference between these two? Why did God reject this one and accept this one? It's a rhetorical question, first of all. I will give you the answer. The question is why? They say that the fruit of the soil was the sacrifice and offering in the Bible. All through the Old Testament there was an offering called the grain offering. And it was acceptable and honoured by God. So why would God now all of a sudden reject it? And the offerings in the Bible, there are 5 sacrifices we're going to look at shortly, very quickly. But there are 5 in them, and one of them is the grain or the fruit of the soil offering. So people thought, well, it can't be that because God is honoured by that. So then we've got to look a bit deeper. Why did God then reject this? And to understand that, we've got to look at the sacrifices in the Bible. And this is going to hopefully be informative to you, those that don't know it. In Leviticus 1-7, who has ever read the book of Leviticus? I can't even get past the first 7 chapters exactly. But in that first 7 chapters is an amazing part about the 5 offerings. So to understand these offerings of Cain and Abel, we first have to understand these. Just note that Leviticus was written 2,500 years after Adam and Eve. Okay? So there was no written law, there was no written document saying about the sacrifices. They were verbal, oral instructions given to God, to Adam. Said, Adam, this is what I want you to do. You give these sacrifices to me in the course of time. And this is what they are. First, there's 3 in the middle called voluntary sacrifices. The first one is a burnt offering, animal. It had to be an animal, and burnt, the whole thing was burnt. And the only thing that was kept was the hide or the skin. That was given to the priests for money. They could sell that and do what they want. The rest of the whole animal was burnt. Alright, that's called a burnt offering. The next one is called a meal offering, grain offering, or the fruit of the soil offering. That one, the one that Cain's busy with. And this was basically fruit of the soil, but actually what they done in the Old Testament was they actually brought flour, bread made of corn, and things like that. So it was more grain orientated than the fruit and vegetables that I've got. The last voluntary one was a peace offering. Notice again, an animal, male or female animal. Alright, so that's what we're getting to. You're going to see a difference between animal and fruit. Alright, so that was 3 voluntary ones. This was ones that you brought in your own time when you had the means and the resources and the need to do it. You would do it, right? Voluntary ones, not really needed by God. The 2 that's important are these 2 on the other side. They were mandatory. You had to do that. God said, listen, these 2 you have to do. I'll give you a time and a place and a day and you do these offerings for me. The first one was a sin offering. It had to be an animal. And in the animals that they use, I don't know if you know this, but there used to be, for the high priest it used to be a bull. And then for the common man, the normal person, it would be a goat or sheep. And if you're really poor, it used to be a pigeon. If you're really dirt poor, it used to be flour. Okay, so they had a hierarchy of what you could bring. But it had to be an animal. Okay, sin offering, animal. The other mandatory one was trespass offering, also an animal. Only a ram, a sheep. And the same thing, it used to be burnt, part used to be given to God, and the rest could be eaten inside the camp. So now do you see a bit of a difference? Why would God then reject this one? Because it wasn't an animal offering. God required the mandatory offerings. You had to bring one of these. He said, Cain and Abel, when the offering comes, when the time of offering comes, bring to me one of these. Let it be an animal sacrifice. What did Cain bring? The meal offering. It wasn't part of the mandatory ones. That is the only reason why God rejected Cain's offering, because it wasn't an animal sacrifice. It wasn't a blood sacrifice. So let's do this. I want to get 2 boys. You 2 boys. Well, but you got a headache. Cain and Abel, come up here. Okay, which one's Cain? The tall one, guys. He's the older. Come on. And there's Abel. Oh, good looking Abel. Your life's going to be short, but it's worthwhile. So you can imagine how God comes. Cain and Abel, it says in the Bible, in the course of time they brought their offerings to God. Prescribed mandatory offerings. So God comes and says, Abel, wow, let's look at your offering. It's an animal, snowflake. I like it, very good. Well done, man. You've done what I asked you to do. You brought the animal sacrifice. Cain, my buddy, let's see what you brought. Oh, it's the animal underneath the fruit. Did you have the animal in your pocket? Did you not get the memo? Did you not get the Facebook page? I put it on everybody's group WhatsApp. Bring the animal sacrifice. Cain, what have you brought me? The fruit. And how do you understand why God was angry with you? Cain, where's the animal? You brought the wrong sacrifice to me. And that's a simple thing, you guys. You can sit down. The simple story is that this one was not a blood sacrifice. Why did God want a blood sacrifice? Why is it always the animals that have to die? Leviticus 17 says that the life of the creature is in the blood. And this was the principle. God says, because of your sin, because you guys deserve death, me included, all of us as sinners coming from Adam, we deserve death. Romans says the wages of death is sin. So all of us deserve death, but he says, listen, I'm going to cover your sin by letting you sacrifice an innocent animal. This animal done nothing wrong. And look at her face, honestly, she can't do anything wrong. But because of your sin, this innocent animal is going to die, and the blood of this animal is going to cover your sin. That's what was important in the Bible. The blood sacrifice was important. And this was obviously foreshadowing something that was going to be coming, that was going to be greater than any other sacrifice ever. And that was going to be the cross of Calvary. All the many blood sacrifices in the Bible pointed to one thing. The ultimate sacrifice of Jesus Christ for us. He became the Lamb of God. Jesus became a snowflake and He gave His life, an innocent life. He done nothing wrong. He was sinless and perfect, but He died and He bled for you and for me. He became that sacrifice. This is what it says in Hebrews. Day after day, every priest stands and performs his religious duties. Again and again, he offers the same sacrifices. This used to be offered every time, every month, every year. Animals used to die to cover man's sins. And he says, which can never take away sins, because all this done was covered the sin temporarily. It covered your sin until you sinned again. Then you had to sacrifice again. And it went on. But it says here, but when this priest Jesus had offered for all time one sacrifice for sins, He sat down at the right hand of the Father. He became the ultimate sacrifice. So this is not needed no more because of what Jesus done for us. So let's move on. God comes to Cain and says, Cain, why are you so angry? Why is your face downcast? If you do what is right, will you not be accepted? But if you do not do what is right, and sin is crouching at your door, it desires to have you, but you must master it. Comes to Cain. Cain, he's in a huff and a puff. Says, oh, screw this off you. And God says, why are you so angry? And now look at that middle part. If you do what is right. What tense is that, my grammar students? Present tense. That was present, isn't it? Yeah, it's supposed to past. I only know those two possibly. Thank you, Jenny, for your subjective. No idea what that means. I've studied Greek and Hebrew, that means nothing to me. If you do what I do. What does he mean by that?
It's conditional.
Yes.
It should be a thing.
But it's also giving him a second chance, isn't it? He said, if you've done what I told you to do, I knew you could have done better, okay? But here's the thing, he says, Cain, listen, if you do what I do, so you got another chance right there. You can go back and you can fix your offering up. You can sacrifice an animal for me. If you do what I tell you to do. Man, isn't that awesome? So even right here by Cain, God isn't this guy that just comes to condemn us and kick us in the teeth. He'll always give you a chance. He says, Cain, listen, you stuffed up pretty badly, man. I only gave you a choice of like one sacrifice and you stuffed it up. I'm giving you a chance. And then what did he do? Nothing. He walked away from God in a huff and a puff. And then what did he do? He called his brother out. And he said, let's go to the field. Oh, what happens in the field? Murder. Cain kills his brother Abel. He kills him. And then God comes up and says, Cain, now where's your brother Abel? Now God knows where he is. He's not asking for information. He wants to just see the response of the heart. And who can tell me what Cain says? And I'm my brother's keeper. Well done. And at this point, God kind of puts his foot down. He's had enough. This is his 3 chances. First, Cain stuffed up the sacrifice. Wrong. He had rebellion and rejection against God. Then he kills his brother. You don't get worse than that. And now he's lying about it also. 3 chances. So God said, listen, Cain, I'm finished with you now. You've had your chances. From now on, everything that you plant will not produce any crops of good fruit. And you'll be a wanderer for the rest of your life. And I think, what was his job? His profession? A farmer. So if he couldn't actually plant anything or producing crops, his life was over. He had to change professions. That's basically it. And he says, from now on you'll be a wanderer across the earth. And this is what he says. Cain said to the Lord, this is all one chapter by the way, chapter 4. So we're not going all through the Bible, one chapter. Cain said to the Lord, my punishment is more than I can bear. Today you are driving me from the land and will be hidden from your presence. I will be a restless wanderer all the earth. And whoever finds me will kill me. But the Lord said, no, if anyone kills Cain, he will suffer vengeance 7 times over. Then the Lord put a mark on Cain. He put a mark on him that no one found him and killed him. We don't know what this mark is though. The old Hebrew tradition said it was a mark on the head, neck or arms. Some people actually go as far as to say this mark was being turned black. Do you know that? And this wasn't even racially inspired. Some people say that the mark of Cain was he became a black man, which is not true by the way. I mean, there's no evidence that they would say that. I believe the mark was a physical mark. Has anybody seen Harry Potter? Let me see you good Christians. Put up your hand, seen Harry Potter. Alright, you heathens. And you keep your hand up also. Yeah, you can make up like that. What has Harry Potter got in his head? A scar is what they like Z or X or I don't know what it is. And that's kind of, Sorry?
Thunderstorm.
Thunderstorm. Yeah, okay. So now we got a worse heathen. There's an ACDC and Harry Potter. But that's kind of how I see it. I think he just had a mark on his forehead. Maybe it was a Hebrew name of God. I don't know. No one knows. But it was some mark on his forehead or his face that when people saw him, they knew, whoa, this guy's been touched by God. Stay the hell away from him. That's kind of what it was. He had a mark. So Cain went out from the Lord's presence and lived in the land of Nod. The land of Nod was east of Eden. Again, just came back quickly to the first part. It says there, driven out from the land, from the presence of God, and the rest was wondering. This is exactly the repeat of what happened to his mother and father Adam. They were driven out from Eden. And then they were going to become wanderers. They were excluded from the presence of Almighty God. A repeat of history for the next generation. Can you believe it? That's how quick sin went in. It didn't only just hit Adam and Eve, it immediately hit their sons also. So the same repeat of history happens. And then the last part says, Cain lay with his wife, he had sexual relations with her, they became pregnant and gave birth to Enoch. Alright, that's right, all his names, Enoch. Cain was then building a city and he named it after his son Enoch. So he built a city. Now, what was he before? What was his profession? Farmer. He gave up farming for construction. I kid you not. He stopped farming and he built a city. And I don't want to say about Cain. Anybody who builds a city is pretty good in my eyes. Alright? So he gave up farming because that was not going to work. So he decided to use his hands more constructively and he built a city. But now I want to ask you something about Cain and his wife. For this I need a man and a woman. Cain and Abel. Can I have you two, Cain and Abel? No, Adam and Eve. I want you, Adam and Eve.
Oh, right!
And I need... Yeah, Tristan and you might as well have a family bench while we're here.
Yeah.
So here's the family. We got Adam and Eve and Cain and Abel. Alright? So far this is a story in Genesis. Alright, Cain and Abel, you come this side. Cain, you kill Abel. Abel, you go sit down because you're out of the story. You're out of it. Yeah, well done. Yeah. Road is starting out. So thus far, following the story, we got Adam and Eve and we got Cain. Cain, come with me this way. Cain goes and he finds a wife. Now my question to you, if you have not asked this question before, where the hell did he get a wife from? Did anybody else ask that question when you read there, or is it only me? Where did his wife come? He's a boy, he's dead. He has his mother and father, and you got a wife. Was this like a mail-order bride from Russia? Where did she come from, man? Right, sit down. Thank you. Sit down, Adam and Eve. Adam lay with his wife. Where did this woman come from? Who asked that question if you ever read it? Can you put up your hand? No one or two people well known. If you didn't ask that question, you should have. Because that should have been important. There's 3 people on planet Earth. Where did this woman pop up out of? The answer is this. Are you ready for it? Adam and Eve had other children. That's as simple as it is. They had to have other children because where did she come from? So it wasn't only Cain and Abel. They had other children. Adam was 130 years old at this time. And God's commandment was him to go, be fruitful and multiply. Multiply in 130 years doesn't mean 2 children. If I had 130 years to multiply, I'll multiply. No 2 children. So just because we know of Cain and Abel in the Bible, doesn't mean that there was only children that they had. The next chapter actually confirms this. It says that Adam and Eve had other sons and daughters.
But then
But you guys are you got me quick, eh? But the contention is this: Christians say it can't be, because then, it's incest. He would have married his sister. So, and we know that was outlawed. Leviticus 18 talks on rape. A whole chapter about not having sexual relations with anybody, your uncle, your auntie, your mother, your father, your dog, anything in your family is in there. I'm telling you. No, you can read it. I'll keep you not. It's about bestiality also. So it gives you a long, big list. So Christians say no, can't be. But remember, I said that law was within 2,500 years after Adam and Eve. So the law of incest was not in place yet in those early days. So yes, Cain did marry his sister. Do you know that Abraham also married his sister?
Okay.
You always ask questions.
But I don't understand. So you could do incense that time, but not now.
No.
Since that law in Leviticus was put in place, That stopped at a halt. But in the early days of Genesis, even up to Abraham, this was still allowed. And let me explain why. Maybe you didn't have thought about this. Adam and Eve, let's say they have 20 children, 10 boys, 10 girls, and they don't get married and they don't have any sexual relationships. Would you be here today?
No.
Doesn't make more sense. So let's say Adam and Eve, they grow old and die, and their 20 children grow up and they just die. We wouldn't be here today. So God allowed it those times because of procreation. He needed the population to grow and grow and grow and to multiply. Eventually it came to a point where God said, whoa, how are we going to stop this? Population is growing good, we've got lots of people, we can carry on without incest. But where did he get his wife? Cain married his sister. Yeah, well done guys, you got it. Alright, and now before we close off, I know you've had a long day here with all the membership and the communion. We're going to close off with chapter 5. And I know Loppy's going to fall over right now. What the? Chapter 5, because we have to do this. I mean, it's part of... I'm not going to miss a chapter in the Bible. So now what we're going to do is, in like 2 minutes, we're going to do chapter 5. Has anybody read Genesis chapter 5? No, you haven't. Don't lie, you haven't. It's not even up read it. Let's skip over it. Alright, and this is why. It says this, Genesis chapter 5. This is the written account of Adam's family line. When God created mankind, He made him in the likeness of God. Created male and female, blessed him. And to mankind. Adam means man. When they were created. When Adam had lived 130 years, he had a son in his own likeness, and his name was Seth. And after Seth was born, Adam lived 800 years. It's quite old, isn't it? 800 years. And he had other sons and daughters. He had other sons and daughters. We know that now, thank you. Altogether, Adam lived 930. Wow, I mean, he must have been like, 130 years old. And he died. He had to die eventually. When Seth, his son, lived 105 years old, he became the father of Enosh. After he became the father of Enosh, Seth lived 800. And this is how it goes on for 32 verses. I kid you not. That's why nobody reads it, because it's boring. Who the hell wants to know who lived and died and how many older? This is how it goes. It goes through all the generations of Adam to Noah. And no one reads this. And I thought to myself, man, there's got to be something in this. And this is the inspired word of God. Why do we read Genesis 1 to 4 and then skip and go on to Noah in chapter 2? No one reads this rubbish because it's boring. And then I found something else on the internet. They told me why this is so important. And let me show it to you. These are the names, the genealogy of Adam's, from Adam to Noah. Right? The names in chapter 5. Right? There's Adam, Seth, Enosh, and then I've got the names in the Hebrew nation. The names mean something. Adam means man. Seth means appointed. Enosh means mortal, to die. Canaan means sorrow. Machael means blessed of God. Jared means shall come down. Enoch or Chanok, it's actually pronounced Hebrew Chanok, it means teaching. Methuselah means his death will bring. Lamech means actually despair and weeping, where we get our word lament. Lamech means despair. Noah, that's how it's pronounced, means rest. So what does it mean, John? I don't know what it means. Do you know what it means? If you put all those words together, look what it gives us. Man has appointed mortal sorrow, but the blessed God shall come down teaching, and his death shall bring his spirit comfort. Isn't that amazing? In this one chapter that you've never read in your life, just by looking at the Hebrew names, and you put those Hebrew names together, it gives you the gospel of Jesus Christ in one sentence. And you got that amazing. Isn't that cool? I found that amazing. It's this hidden message. In Genesis chapter 5, imagine now if somebody found this out. What else is in the Bible that we just don't know about? This is just one of the many hidden spiritual messages in the Bible, and I thought this was just amazing. In this one chapter that we just overlooked is the gospel of Jesus Christ himself. And then just to finish off, what happens to Cain? Cain has a couple of kids and generations go past, and his line just leads to death and destruction. One of his sons is also called Lamech. Lamech has 2 wives. This was not known in those early days. I know God allowed it. And Solomon had how many wives? 700. Yeah, exactly. So it was allowed. But back in those days, it was not. God made Adam and Eve and said, "Listen, you can't follow this model." And he did it. He had 2 wives. And when somebody hit him, you know what he done? He killed him. And he boasted about it. So you can see the way of Cain just led to death and destruction. At that point in time, read the Bible and think, whoa, man, it's all downhill from here. But luckily, there was another son born to Adam and Eve, and his name was Seth. And Seth carried up the hope and the light again. And it says that through his generations, many people called upon the name of the Lord. They called upon the name of the Lord. I love that. You know, in the world we live in is full of darkness and despair. I think we're living in the ways of Cain right now. People are just as bad as he was back then. But it's not over for us. There is hope because of Christians. Because why? We call upon the name of the Lord. In a world without hope, we are the Christians who will give them hope. In a world of darkness, we will bring them light. In a world where there's so much discouragement, we are the Christians who will encourage one another. And let that be your message for today as you leave this church. Please join us next week as we continue with Genesis 6 and 7. And who can tell me who is in Genesis chapter 6? Noah. Yeah! So you guys can come back, right? The rest of you come back. Alright, join us next week for the story about Noah and the flood. And as you've heard so far, in every chapter we've seen one person highlighted, and his name is Jesus. Did you see that? Every chapter so far, Jesus comes up. Who would ever think that I speak about Jesus in Genesis? And you know what happens next week in Noah? The ark represents who? Jesus. Well done, so you're going to get that next week. So let us just go out with that one thought. First of all, the altar, what it means to us. What the animal sacrifice means in the death of Jesus Christ. And the second part is we are Christians called to give hope, encouragement, love and light in a dark world. Just like the Lionel said. Thank you very much.